Strange. James's fault. It's always James's fault. Okay. I'll move that down. Debates. Why is everyone so quiet? The chat asks. Because we're waiting to stream. We haven't started yet. Are we live? Whatever. What? No sound. Testing.
Of the jungle allow you to become rich by killing millions of people. One example is tobacco companies making billions of dollars by killing 5 million people every year. It is the equal casualty of 33 Hiroshima nuclear bomb every year. Weapon cartels produce all kinds of weapons to become richer, and God knows how many people they kill. They even create wars and conflicts to sell more weapons. Corruption, drug, human trafficking, and many more massive problems are because of the rules of the jungle we are living in. If we choose to live like animals in this modern jungle, then we don't need any religions because the jungle is run by our animal nature. We are animals in nature, but the smartest one. If we want to call ourselves human, then we have to act like one and get out of our jungle and live in a human world. Animal way of living is me, only me. I don't care about others. I just care about myself, and I'm ready to kill millions for my own interest. In the human world, the rules are 180 degrees opposite to the animal world. The rules are first everyone else, love one another, and sacrifice for our own kind. If we want to get rid of all our problems and live in a human world where no bad deeds happen, no one goes hungry, no one gets killed by bombs, no drugs, no corruption, and no human trafficking, then the only way is to convert to the laws of the most merciful and forgiving God, who loves us and wants to guide us out of the jungle. God helped us to have more human life by sending us different prophets in the past. No one can deny that it was the message of love one another by Jesus, peace be upon him, that stopped pagans of Rome and Greece. The barbaric practice they had, which were putting gladiators in those stadiums, killing each other, so that those barbarians cheer and have fun seeing gladiators slaughtering each other. No one can deny that it was teachings of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, that stopped Arab pagans from burying their daughters alive, a practice that even today is followed by pagans in India. In the past 20 years, more than 10 million girls have been killed before or after birth in India. 2,500 years ago, Persia became the biggest empire in the world, but they didn't practice any of those barbaric acts Romans, Greeks, and Egyptians practiced, because Persians were believing in a messenger of God, and his three main teachings were good words, good thoughts, and good deeds. Only by these three teachings, we had Cyrus the Great, who just freed people from oppression. And he had the first human rights laws in the world, which is kept in the British Museum. I can go on and on in many hours and give you facts that how Abrahamic religion changed our jungle to more human world, but of course not yet the absolute human world. God and his religions solved many problems we had in the past. So we needed his guidance in the past. But do we still need him? We definitely have a lot of problems even today. If we can solve them ourselves, then I agree that we don't need him anymore. Did God want to solve just few problems or all? The answer is all. So God put the final guidance in Islam to show us the way out of the jungle so that we live in a utopia which is beyond anyone's imagination. For most people, it is impossible, but it is possible by guidance of the Almighty God, and that is why Islam is called the last message of God. Not because it has more rules and praying and fasting, but because it can make possible the impossible. Secularism cannot guide us out of the jungle and solve all our problems. The jungle we are living in is run by our animal nature and doesn't need any set of beliefs, but the human world needs a set of beliefs because it is against our nature. We have to fight against our ego, which is a part of our nature. So we need a set of beliefs to fight our nature. The more we sacrifice, the more human we are, and the more selfish, the more animal we are. Can secularism guide people to sacrifice, especially absolute sacrifice? No, only God can do that. And he will reward us with heaven if we live and die like a human, but he will punish us if we reject his command and live and die like animals. Now it is up to us to choose this jungle and see our fellow human beings get killed by many different ways, just because some people want to get richer and richer. To see hundreds of millions of people live in a hell on earth, earning $1 a day, and many other injustice and disasters. Or we want to decide to follow the commands of the most merciful and forgiving God and live in a human world. Which one You choose. I don't want to see all these injustice because I care about everyone else. How about you? All right, thank you very much. This was my
Thank you so very much, the perfect Dawah, for your opening statement. And with that, we're going to hand it over to TJump for his up to 12-minute opening statement.
All right, so the question is, which is better for society, Islam or atheism? And the ideology, which is the best, to find out which is the ideology the best, we can look at the stats from all around the world to see which ideologies actually solve the most problems. If you are curious which states are the most and least religious, simply check the Pew Forum's Religious Landscape Survey. It is all there. And you can go ahead and check out the various states and how they are faring in terms of social well-being. The correlation is clear and strong. The more secular tend to fare better, and the more religious on a vast host of measures, including homicide and violent crime rates, poverty rates, obesity, diabetes rates, child abuse rates, education attainment levels, income levels, unemployment rates, rates of sexually transmitted disease, teen pregnancy, etc., you name it. On nearly every sociological measure of well-being, you're most likely to find that the more secular states with the lowest levels of faith in God and the lowest levels of church attendance are faring best, and the most religious states with the highest levels of faith in God and rates of church attendance are faring the worst. The same pattern includes the worst examples of secular nations, even if you include China, Russia, North Korea, whatever. These are far more developed and better off than the majority of Muslim countries, and so even if you take the worst examples of both worlds, secular nations do better. The majority of Muslim countries are doing worse off than the majority of secular nations. If we look at the best nations in the world who have the best levels of human rights, they're all majority secular nations. One of the biggest problems Islamic nations face is the focus on religious beliefs has on educations. In many Muslim countries consist primarily of religious rather than scientific programs, and this focus on religious education is a detriment to society and holds them back and is one of the primary reasons they do worse in every metric. Education in the West tends to focus on scientific ones, which is why education in the West and secular nations is significantly better in every respect. Islamic nations, women are second-class citizens, and it's not just that women can't contribute directly to the workforce, but that women aren't educated at the same standard, and thus aren't able to raise children to be scientists and engineers as effectively. Another one of the contributing reasons why Islamic societies do objectively worse in every measure. Islamist legal systems are based on antiquated legal environments, largely based on old UK law without update merged with Sharia law, and is not compatible with modern business, holding back businesses from being able to be successful in Muslim countries. Another determining factor in why Muslim countries do objectively worse in every metric. Some Muslim countries have tried to resolve this by moving away from Islamic laws, like the Dubai Free Trade Zones and the Jebel Ali in the 70s was probably the first major development of its kind, but the law outside of business still needs revision. So this shows that only by leaving Islamic law do Islamic countries make progress. If Islam isn't capable of solving the problems of its own countries, it has no business thinking it can solve the problems in other countries and the rest of the world. Until Islam can build up its own countries to the level of prosperity, development, education, standard of living, opportunity, and quality of life of the Christian, Jewish, and secular nations, then it isn't even a serious contender to be the solution for humanity. Judaism, Christianity, and secularism are all infinitely better options, demonstrated by all of the evidence we have today. Research by Helmuth Nyberg and Richard Lynn, Emeritus Professor of Psychology at the University of Ulster, compared belief in God and IQs using the data from U.S. studies of many, like thousands of people. The average IQ of atheists is 6 points higher than the IQ of religious people, showing that probably the smarter people tend towards atheism because it is a more intellectual position. So taking a less intellectual position is a detriment and a reason why we should not adopt religious beliefs in general. In a Pew survey study, a global study of religion and education around the world ranked Jews as the most educated, followed by Christians and atheists, with Muslims and Hindus being the lowest level of education. So it is an indication that Islam is not even close to a solution here. Again, just not even within the category. If we look at Nobel Prizes, Christians make up the most with about 65%. Second is Jews with 20%. Third is atheists with 10%. And fourth is Buddhists with 1%. And Muslims go with a solid 0%. 0 point, like they get four. They got four. That's four Nobel Prizes. Good indication that they are not qualified to do anything relating to solving problems in the world, since most of the problems that are actually solved are solved scientifically. Let's recall Norman Borlaug, the man who literally saved 1 billion lives by inventing genetically modified wheat. Science is what saves humanity, not religious beliefs that make absolutely no progress in science. We can also recall the time when math was banned in Islam, math and trade, which set when Islam was the leading technological ruler of the world. This completely undermined them and led them to where they are today, or they're the lowest level of scientific development in the world. If we compare answers among scientists, personal belief in a God is about 7%, whereas disbelief is about 70%. So the vast majority of the top scientists do not believe in a God. If general scientists, the same trend is there, even though it's much smaller, just average everyday scientists, it's about 41% are not believing. And so if we look at Sage Journal, Are Muslim Countries More Prone to Violence? By Niels Per Gleichert and Ida Rolfsson. Muslim countries are also overrepresented among the countries with the high levels of forms of internal violence, non-state conflict, just not like wars, one-sided violence, highly representative human rights policies, repressive human rights policies, and countries that practice capital punishment. So kidnappings are 56% above average in Muslim countries. Murders are 3 times higher in Muslim countries. Worst countries for human rights in violations, 80% are Muslim. If we just take the entire wall, all of the countries that are the worst human rights violations and rule of law, 80% are Muslim. So if we take what my opponent said in the opening seriously, this fact demonstrates and proves it absolutely false that adopting Islam can solve any of these world's problems and decrease crime and anything. We have the data, it's false. The more Islamic countries move away from tenets of Islam and adopt secular values, the better the countries become. Ironically, Islam is about the last ideology you want to be a serious contender for this role. Gender-based violence, domestic abuse, honor killings, FGM, female genital mutilation, marital rape, all higher in Muslim countries. The non-Muslim countries being the lowest in secular nations. In conclusion, Islam isn't the solution for Islamic countries. In fact, it's one of the biggest problems. Therefore, it's definitely not the solution for mankind, especially since we already have ideologies which do objectively better in every imaginable way. Until Islam can fix the problems in its own countries, it definitely can't be considered as a plausible solution for any other countries.
Thank you so very much, TJump, for your opening statement. And with that, I'm going to hand it back to our interlocutors for 40 minutes to an hour of open dialogue.
All right, shall I start or?
Go for it.
Yeah, okay. I would like to see if I can share something. Amy, is it possible to share a link?
To share a link or to share your screen?
Yeah, a screen, I think, yeah.
Sure, give me...
I have to, just a moment, please. I think I have to go to this share screen, yeah?
Sir?
Yes, I think it's, all right. Share. Is it shared now?
It's loading, and now just give me 1 second to send it over to everyone else.
It's not shared on my screen. I don't see it.
There we go. Should be all good.
I see nothing.
Do you see it?
No.
You don't see it now.
Can you just describe it and not? The screen share is causing me to lag.
It looks frozen.
Yeah.
I now also see it frozen on my screen.
Yeah. Can you cancel the screen share?
Okay,
like this is.
I will
just describe it. Just describe it.
Let me see here. I can read it for you. It's it is recent news. More than 50 Republicans in the House of Representatives support Bank's resolution against nuclear deal with Iran, aimed Russian-Ukraine war. An update GCPOA would increase the risk of a nuclear Iran, enrich terrorists, and destabilize the entire region. All these aside, the the process in Vienna would be a violator of the deal for any normal administration. Okay, and then just a few days ago, Iranian terrorists threatened to kill American citizens in the United States, and the Iranian government has openly claimed responsibility for the rocket attack near the U.S. consulate in Iraq. Banks added, let's be clear, Joe Biden is not just negotiating with terrorists, he is sending billions.
Is there a point? Like, I'm not following the point.
Sending billions to terrorists to lift sanctions. Your country has destroyed the entire Middle East, okay, by supporting the godfather of international terrorism, which is Iranian regime, in 40 years. Obama sent them over $100 billion, and it was only Donald Trump who came out.
What is the point?
That stupid. The point is that you destroy our countries and you blame it on Islam, okay? It is as if, as I say, the entire Latin America is blame the problem there on Christianity, which is absolutely wrong, or Africa. It is the wealthy country, the rich country, even Russia and China, they are oppressing all other countries for their own interest. And you don't have to blame Islam for all this, disaster that you have created. Don't support it.
Okay, one sec. So let's say you're right. Let's say you're right. Who was it? Hold up. So let's say you're right. So whose fault is it that Islam decayed, even though it was the leader in the world? Was it America, who didn't exist yet? Why was it in the 12 and 1300s, when Islam was the most technologically advanced and had the most education and the most trade? Which Western nation was it that caused Islam to fall?
I said that from the beginning, we are living in a jungle. Of course, there are different, elements who, abuse religion.
What was the answer to the question?
Everything. No, the answer is that Islam came to solve the problems, and it solved a lot of problems.
No. So Islam was the leader of the world. Then Islam collapsed because Islam banned math and banned trade with Jews. So Islam caused the problems in Islam. Islam, which was the leader in the world, had all of the technology, had the most powerful militaries, had everything going for them. And then they decayed and became weak so other countries could then take advantage of them. But that's not the other country's fault. That's Islam's fault because it destroyed itself. And so, yes, will evil people take advantage of them now? Of course they will. But what set them back wasn't the other countries. It was Islam. Islam is the problem. And it doesn't matter. Even if I could grant that America is siding with Iran or whatever, does that cause the female genital mutilation? No. Does that cause the honor killings? No. Does that cause the killing of the gay people? No. Those are all tenets in Islam. Islam is the thing that caused those. So of all the stats I listed, of the ones of violent crime, it was of non-state conflict. It was of people killing other people, of murder, of rape, of crime, of people in those countries doing things evil because of Islam. So nothing that you said there, even if America is evil, which I mean, I kind of agree, America is evil, none of that is the cause of the problem here. The cause of the problem of all the things I listed was Islam. It wasn't that America did it. America didn't add female genital mutilation into Islam. That was what Islam added into itself.
Okay. Now, can I answer you?
Go ahead.
Okay, can I answer? As a born in a Muslim family and a Muslim country, I have never heard this female circumcision, or what do you call it? Okay, I have never heard it in my entire life. Recently, I have heard it because it is an African. Yes, I think it was Reza Aslan who was talking to CNN as well. He had more research about that. That Ethiopia, a mostly Christian country, has the most problem with these women mutilation. Okay.
No, it's Muslim countries. Muslim countries. That's the biggest problem.
My sisters, my mother, my entire relatives never had heard such a thing. Okay.
I don't care what your family has heard. Anecdotes aren't evidence.
No, this is not Islamic. This is an African problem. Has entered some Muslim countries and people adopt it, but it doesn't have anything to do with Islam. Okay, and
except it's the most in Islamic countries. Why is it? One sec. If you say it has nothing to do with Muslim countries, why is it that this is the most in Muslim countries?
It doesn't have anything to do with Islam.
Okay, why? If it has nothing to do with Islam, why is it the most in Muslim countries?
No, I told you right now that Ethiopia has the most,
I literally just read the stats from the Pew Surveys data. I have the stats. Of all countries who have the most violations of human rights, 80% are Muslim.
Yeah, okay, human rights you are talking about, or you are talking about women mutilation. You were talking, if human rights you are talking about, okay, you better, don't show your face like that. It's not so, I think, nice. But anyway, I told you that you support dictators in our country.
The practice is almost universal. Female genital mutilation is almost universal in Somalia. Guess what? That's a Muslim country. Guinea, Djibouti, Muslim countries.
How about Ethiopia? How about Ethiopia?
Ethiopia? Well, I don't know.
Did you check? It has the most women mutilation in Ethiopia, and it is most Christian country. So please, if you're talking about human rights, okay, if you are talking about human rights violation, I told you that you support dictators in our countries. We could have a beautiful Middle East, beautiful democratic countries in the Middle East. If you didn't, your country, USA and UK didn't make a coup d'etat against our democratic prime minister in 1953 and bring it down, put a dictator there, we would have, Iran would be second Japan, because
I don't know what you're saying.
Regime, so because you don't have the knowledge.
You seem like you're going off of the point.
That's why you don't know.
You seem like you're diverting. Like, can we get back to the point? So I had a point here. Female genital mutilation in the Middle East is highest in northern Saudi Arabia, southern Jordan, Iraq, including Kurdish regions. Also been discovered in Syria, Oman, and United Arab Emirates, and Qatar.
I said that it is not Islamic. If it was Islamic, I would have, my sisters would have been also mutilated.
No. Hold on. One sec. So your argument there was that if it was Islamic, then it would have happened to your family. It didn't happen to your family, therefore it isn't a trend in Islam. That's called an anecdotal fallacy. So the fact, one sec, I'm making a point here. So even if it didn't happen to your family, that doesn't matter if it happens to millions of other families in Islam from Islamic doctrine. What happened to your family from your interpretation doesn't matter. What we care about here is, does this ideology cause a bad effect on the whole? Whether you think one second. So if your interpretation, what you think is the true Islam, I'm not one sec. So your interpretation, stop interrupting and let me finish. Stop interrupting.
Pull everybody into corners.
So what your interpretation of Islam, because it's not true, it's just a made-up religion, your interpretation may not include female genital mutilation, but it does for millions of other people around the world. So if we adopted Islam, millions of people who adopted those other definitions would increase their rates of female genital mutilation and human rights violation. Whether you think it's true Islam or not doesn't matter, because if we adopted Islam, more people would adopt those harmful variations. So it doesn't matter what your family did. It's called an anecdotal fallacy, literally a logical fallacy that proves your argument is garbage. It doesn't matter. It happens all over the world. That's what matters.
Can I answer? You put more words in my mouth. I didn't say it to my family. I said I was born and grown up in a Muslim country. I had never heard it in my entire life. Not my family, not my relatives, no one. I had never heard such a thing, okay? So you say that it is only my family? No. I just heard it in Europe when I came a few years ago. I heard this one, that there are countries that they practice such a act. Okay,
right. And so what I said was,
first time I heard it from this.
I don't care. I don't care. What you heard doesn't matter. Your personal anecdote of what you heard is irrelevant. It's not evidence. No one cares. I have data from the entire planet, from the entire Pew Surveys data of millions of people. I know what's happening in the world.
Check Ethiopia.
I don't care about Ethiopia. I don't care.
Why you don't care?
Wait. What happens in Ethiopia doesn't matter. It literally doesn't matter. I just listed. One sec. What you're saying does not make sense here. I said here it's happening in northern Saudi Arabia, Jordan, Iraq, Kurdish regions, Oman, Syria. Wait. So it doesn't matter what's happening in Ethiopia. It literally doesn't matter. Your religion causes this problem.
So it is Christianity as well, yeah? It is
Yes, Christianity. I'm an atheist. I don't care about Christianity either. Christianity is also bad. Your religion is causing a problem. Atheism is better. It doesn't cause the problem. Which atheist countries have a problem with FGM? Name one. Any atheist country.
But I said that this is an African problem, okay?
I just listed Middle East, Saudi Arabia, Jordan, Iraq.
It has entered, yes. It has entered in some Muslim countries.
Which atheist countries has this problem?
I don't know. Okay.
None. Zero. None of them.
Okay. This is the biggest problem in the world. Yeah. Is it the biggest problem in the world?
I don't think so, but it's one of them.
I was talking about tobacco companies kill 5 million people every year, 33 nuclear bomb. Okay. And atheism cannot solve such a problems. Okay. Drug problem, war problem.
Atheism is solving that problem. So one sec. So the companies taking advantage of people, atheism is solving those problems. The secular nations are making laws against tobacco usage. They're making laws against companies taking advantage of South American companies. All that's coming from secular nations, secular Western nations who are making laws based on humanist principles to try and not take advantage of people. So the only ones making progress in that field is atheist nations.
But first of all, I said that all these comes from Abrahamic religion. It started from Abrahamic religion. Slowly, all we have today is from Abrahamic religion. Even if you are secular, you don't know that you are following those great teachings of Jesus and Moses and Prophet Muhammad. Okay?
Wait, you're saying that secular morality comes from the Islamic religion? Is that what you're saying?
Not only Islam, from Christianity and Judaism.
Okay, well, we can prove that false.
Those time, sorry?
We can prove that false. So morality predates any religion.
From that. It started from there.
No, it didn't. We can prove that false. So that's literally what I'm addressing. Yes. We can prove that false. We know morality comes from evolution. There's morality in apes that we can find, and we can see the patterns that precurse human morality in other animals that have no religion. So we know for a fact it does not come from any religion. It comes specifically from evolution and social norms and how game theory interacts with our cultural groups. Has nothing to do with religion. We know that our social norms come from evolutionary tendencies and what causes societies to work well together due to cooperation incentives and game theory. So no, it does not in any way come from Christianity or Islam. And in fact, all of the good principles that came from Christianity and Islam and Judaism predate all of those and come from Hinduism.
Kill each other in those stadiums, Romans and Greeks. It was Hinduism that solved those problems, or Jesus' message solved those problems.
Well, no one solved those problems, but the principles.
It just solved itself. Yeah, just itself. Okay.
No, secular nations are solving those problems.
How about girls were buried alive in Arabia?
Yeah.
Who solved that problem?
Not the Muslims, because it's still happening. So again, the principles. Wait. Stop. This is what Muslims do all the time. You're diverting. You're diverting from the topic. You're diverting from the topic. You're not addressing the topic. Hold up. You made a point.
Who solved that problem?
One sec. Okay. You made a point. You said that the principles of morality come from Christianity and Judaism and Islam. That's false. I can prove that false because these principles, like the Golden Rule, come from Hinduism. Hinduism had them before Christianity or Islam or Judaism. It's an older religion that also had the principles of the Golden Rule. So the principles don't come from Hinduism or don't come from Christianity or Islam or any of the Abrahamic religions. The principles come from other religions that predated those. So that point you made is false. This other irrelevant point you made about Islam making some progress in one field doesn't matter.
TJ. All right. So you mean that the Romans and the Greeks, they stopped those barbaric acts because of Hinduism, not because of
No,
Christianity.
none of that matters. None of that matters. So again, follow the conversation. You made an argument. The principles that are moral came. Hold up. So you're making a different, irrelevant point. So let's go back to the point we were talking about before.
Okay,
you
but
said,
you cannot answer.
No. You're deferring. Muslims do this all the time. They divert from the topic to try and avoid when they're about to get crushed. So you made a point. You made the point that the moral principles come from the Abrahamic religions. I proved that point false. No, they come from Hinduism. Hinduism.
I asked you a question then.
No. Your question doesn't matter. Did Hinduism exist before the Abrahamic religions?
Okay.
Yes. Did Hinduism come up with the golden rule and the moral principles that Christianity stole it from? Yes. Therefore, these moral principles came from Hinduism. Whether or not Hinduism solved some other problem in some other location literally doesn't make a difference. Your argument was proven false. They did not come from Abrahamic religions.
So you mean that the problems there were solved by Hinduism?
I didn't say anything about problems. Follow the conversation. I said, did the principles originate from the Abrahamic religions? No. Problem solved.
So you mean that the Abrahamic religion followed Hinduism?
Yes,
yeah?
They took from Hinduism, yes.
Okay, where in Hinduism, can you please show me in Hinduism where it says that don't bury your daughters alive? Don't kill your daughters.
How does that follow from anything I said? Like, what is that? I said that the moral principles that Christianity caught.
Why they are
wait. So again, you're doing the Muslim thing where you're going off on some irrelevant tangent that has nothing to do with anything I said. So I said the principles, like the golden rule, the foundational principles of the entire religion come from Hinduism. The golden rule is in Hinduism. It predates Christianity. So the foundation of morality, of the moral principles, is in Hinduism. Now, how those were adopted into specific little weird things about burial, that doesn't matter. The original tenets of the foundation of morality does not come from any of the Abrahamic things. Not burying your dead is not a foundational moral tenet. That's just a silly little thing that changed in different cultures. It's not a thing in morality.
So why they haven't still yet solved the problems of burying daughters alive in India?
That literally has nothing to do with the point.
It doesn't have any. Okay, I could come with a lot of facts that they haven't been able to solve any problems in their own, community.
That literally has nothing to do with the point.
But let's talk about the world problem that we are facing today, okay? And you mentioned, of course, a lot of problems in Muslim countries, and I addressed that it is because of, it's not only in Muslim countries, it's in Christian countries, in African countries, and it is because of some superpowers. They want to benefit from those countries, so they keep them, coup d'etat. It wasn't because of Islam, it was because of CIA and all this. So they don't do this only to Muslim countries. I say, Yes, and if they didn't involve in our countries, we would have beautiful, perfect countries, okay?
No, that's literally false. We can prove that false just by looking past in history.
Okay, I gave you the fact that if 1953 you didn't bring down our democratic country, government in Iran and put a dictator Shah in power, then we would have second Japan in Iran. Because it hasn't happened, because it has gone wrong, then I cannot, of course, prove you. So democracy brings development. Democracy brings, allows people to develop. But dictatorship, tens of thousands of highly educated people have been executed by this regime that I showed you right now.
The Muslim regime.
Joe Biden is trying to save them by...
The Muslim regime is executing people.
It's not a Muslim regime.
It's
a mafia regime. It's a mafia regime.
Which religion? Which religion are they?
And your country, they put it.
Which religion?
They believe in money. They don't believe in anything but money.
No, that's false. Which religion is their state? Which religion is the country? Which is the official religion of their government? What is the official religion that they stated on their government? What religion?
They are lying. So
I don't care if you think they're lying. What religion does it say that they are based on?
They say whatever they want to say.
What do they say? What do they want to say?
They say they are Muslim, of course.
Yes, they say they're Muslim.
But yes, but they are not.
So that's called a no true Scotsman. Do you know what a no true Scotsman is?
If you believe in bunch of mafia, then that's your problem.
Do you know what a no true Scotsman is?
Sorry?
No true Scotsman. Do you know what a no true Scotsman fallacy is?
No, I don't know.
Okay, no true Scotsman fallacy is when you say, oh, they're not a real Scot because they don't have cream porridge or whatever. You can say they're not real Muslims because they don't adhere to your interpretation of Islam. No, they are equally as real Muslims as you are.
Okay.
You just disagree with their interpretation. They are Muslims.
Ask you a question. All right, I ask you a question. Stealing in Islam is forbidden. Okay, do you know that at least?
In your interforbidden, not in theirs.
It is in Islam.
In your interpretation.
Any religion says that stealing is forbidden.
I don't think you understand. I don't think you understand.
I'm asking you a question. Any government, even a secular government, says stealing is forbidden.
Your interpretation. Your interpretation. Okay. So they think they're fine. So they think they're allowed in Islam to do the things they're doing. They think they're perfectly fine.
Sweden is a secular government, and they say stealing is forbidden. Is my interpretation, or is that my interpretation? It is. They say stealing is forbidden. Okay, robbing is forbidden. So it is in their constitution. All right.
That's nice.
Islam says stealing, robbing people, okay, is forbidden. It's haram. All right. But this government in Iran, everybody know, I can show you a lot of facts. They steal billions of dollars. The leader, he didn't have even a flat. Now he's $200 billion rich. U.S. embassy in Baghdad,
they're still Muslim.
$95 billion rich. U.S. embassy in Baghdad. Okay.
Okay, they're still Muslim, so it doesn't address the point.
$95 billion rich. Okay.
Okay, he's still Muslim.
All right. That's your. Everybody listen and see that how you try to run away from the answer.
What? No. Your answer isn't an answer. Like, they are Muslim. Whether or not you think they're correct Muslims doesn't matter. They are Islam. They believe in Islam. They worship.
They don't believe in Islam.
No. That's your belief. That is your problem. Okay. They do. They say we're Muslim. They go to the mosque. They pray to Allah. They're Muslim, whether you believe it or not. Whether you think they're not doing the right Muslim way, it doesn't make a difference. They're Muslim. If we adopt Islam, there's going to be a lot of people who do what they're doing and have their interpretation and disagree with your interpretation. It doesn't matter if you think it's the correct one or not. Islam will cause that. What we see them doing, Islam causes that.
Islam doesn't cause that.
It does.
Joe Biden caused that. Barack Obama does that. Okay.
that has been happening for a long time before any of the American presidents.
I read for you from 50 Republicans now that your government is going to send hundreds of billions of dollars, like Barack Obama did, to the biggest terrorist regime on the planet.
Which doesn't address the point. That's irrelevant. That's literally irrelevant. So like, wait. So one second. Go back in time. Let's go back in time. Let's go back in time. So did America create these organizations, these governments? No. No. They were around before America. All of these all of the Islamic countries were around a long time before America. America's pretty young.
Islamic countries, yes, but these
and the problems in the Islamic countries were all there. They were still there.
The head of terrorist, international terrorism, came to power 43 years ago because the USA was afraid that left groups take the power after Iranian Revolution. So they helped this caveman terrorist guy, ISIS guy, to take the power because they knew that he's not going to ally with the Soviet Union, okay? And they have been supporting this regime in 43 years.
Literally irrelevant. Literally doesn't matter. Islamic terrorists. One second. I can debunk everything you're saying. Just everything you're saying in like 5 seconds. Islamic terrorism has been around since the Assassins in the 1200s. Okay, problem solved. So no, America didn't cause these problems because America wasn't around 1200 years ago. Yes, there were terrorists a long time ago, also Muslim, also same problems. Were not invented by America.
Okay, which terrorism? Can you give me a terrorist attack before 1979 by Muslims? Can you?
I can Google it. Let's Google it.
Google
Islamic
it. Before 1979, I haven't found a single terrorist attack anywhere in the world. A terrorist attack by Muslims before 1979. Yes. I haven't found a single one. The first one was 1981 in Lebanon by Hezbollah. after Iranian Revolution. Sorry, no, the first one was 1980 in Saudi Arabia, also again by Iranian regime, okay? Because Iranian regime has always wanted to occupy Saudi Arabia.
So every single raid, every single destruction and killing of one group of people, that's a terrorist incident, and there's thousands of them in Islamic countries prior to 1979.
Okay, you're talking about conflict and war, okay?
No, I mean like just
everywhere.
a group of people.
Give me a terrorist. Give me a terrorist attack, I said.
So a terrorist attack is defined as an attack of one group trying to change a political system. So if one tribe in the Middle East decides to kill and slaughter and rape another tribe because they want political change, that's a terrorist attack.
No. That's, of course, it's if you want to call that one, even USA is attacking different countries, that's also a terrorist attack.
America is terrorist too, but your country was terrorist way before America existed.
Okay. So the conflicts, everybody knows that conflicts has existed.
I'm not talking about conflict. I'm talking about genocide.
Yeah, it has existed, and it doesn't have anything to do with Islam. Okay?
Literally does. So if it happens more in Islamic countries, that has to do with Islam.
Islam forbid it. Okay, Islam doesn't allow
that's your subjective interpretation. What you think it forbids doesn't matter. The question is if we adopt Islam, will more people do genocide? And the answer is yes. If the more Islamic countries do genocide than other countries, and always have throughout most of history. So Islamic as a doctrine does not prevent genocide. It causes more of it than other doctrines. Like Jainism, there is no Jainism genocide. If we just gave Jainism to everyone in the world, there would be zero genocide. But Islam, there's lots of genocide.
Jungle. I told you, it is the rules of the jungle that created everywhere on this planet, that you can become rich by killing people, by abusing religion, by abusing
like Muhammad
nationalism, by abusing even color. Okay,
like Muhammad.
What Muhammad?
Getting rich off of conquering and killing people and taking land. Yes, I agree.
Let me see. Wait, did he? I'm talking about conflict like Second World War that Adolf Hitler abused nationalism. Okay,
like Muhammad. And, yes.
Which nationalism? Okay, all right. Where did Muhammad use nationalism? He just wanted to,
the Quran, where it literally says if people are of other nations or they leave Islam, we have to kill them. Like that's a good example.
Can you give me the verse? Can you give me the verse?
I could if I had time. Like, you want me to Google it? Muhammad nationalism.
Google it. Yeah. Give me the verse that say people of other nations want to leave Islam. Give me the verse.
I can just give me some time. I'll email it to you later if you want. Like, this is not like a hard thing.
Yeah, because you just have heard something
Muhammad
from here and then
murders by Muhammad. In Quran Muhammad wars. All right.
Okay,
according to Muhammad's rules of wars, no justification exists for attacking civilians. Good job. But when they reject or leave the faith, you can kill them. Okay.
Give me the verse of Quran, please. I ask you, give me the verse of Quran that says
killing apostates. Quran. Apostates men are to be killed, while women are to be held in solitary confinement and beaten every 3 days till they recant and return to Islam. Penalty for apostasy in Islam.
Which verse?
I don't know.
Which verse? You don't know. That's the problem.
I'm just reading. Anything? I don't need to give the verse. Like, does it matter if I give the verse? Like, no.
Yeah, it matters because there is no such a verse in Quran.
What is the penalty for apostasy in Islam?
There is no penalty for apostasy. There is no compulsion in religion in Islam. Okay, that's a fabricated hadith by some.
Okay, let me put it this way. What is in most Muslim countries? What is the penalty for apostasy in Quran?
They say yes, death. Okay.
So where did they get that from? Did they just make it up?
They get it from a fabricated hadith. Okay. They don't get it
okay,
from
so
Quran, because Quran says,
one sec.
says no
That's a great point. That's a great point. Let's
religion.
talk about that. So most Muslims in most Muslim countries think that we should
Not
kill.
most Muslim. Don't come with most Muslim.
There's
okay?
a Pew Surveys data.
There are a bunch of dictators in these countries. They abuse religion.
I don't care about
to
the
oppress
dictators.
people,
I don't care
oppress
about the
people.
dictators. Wait. So
you don't care. But I care.
there are Pew Surveys data. Pew Surveys data where they've asked Muslims in America, in the UK, in all of the Muslim countries, do they agree with these tenets? One of the things is they asked, should apostate, or should, I think it was, be stoned to death or killed or whatever. The vast majority, like 66 something percent of Muslims and even the European countries, agreed that they should take and kill apostates for leaving the faith, or they should implement Sharia law in these kinds of cases. Like, yes, this is, most Muslims interpret the Quran in this way. So even if you think they're wrong, even if you think they've all made this up, they've got it wrong, this is the incorrect interpretation, most Muslims think this. That means if we adopt Islam worldwide, the vast majority of the world would think this. They would have the wrong interpretation of Islam, which means Islam is a bad ideology to implement in the world. Do you know how many secular nations think we should stone apostates? Zero. How many people in secular nations say it's okay to stone anyone for any reason? Zero. There's none. Doesn't happen. So secular nations here are better because they don't have this problem that a large portion of the people who adopt the ideology think it's okay to stone apostates to death.
Okay, now you couldn't find a single verse. Okay, I give you Quran chapter 4 verse 137. Indeed, those who have believed, then disbelieved, then believed, then disbelieved, and then increase in disbelief. Of course, it's not disbelief. It's in Quran says kufr. Okay, never will Allah forgive them, nor will He guide them to a way. Okay, there is no anything about kill them, asking us to kill them. Chapter 4 verse 137. Indeed, those who have believed, then disbelieved, then believed. Sorry, this was the same I read. Okay, chapter 47 verse 38. Here you are, those invite to spend in the cause of Allah, but among you are those who withhold out of greed, and whoever withholds only withholds benefit from himself, and Allah is the free of need while you are the needy, and if you turn away, He will replace you with another people, then they will not be the like of you. So Allah, there are so many verses of Quran, and another one, there is no compulsion.
I don't care.
Religion, okay?
Literally doesn't matter.
You don't care. Okay, I know that you don't care. You don't care about anything.
No,
So
I do. There's something I do care about.
discussing.
There's something I care about a lot. It's what is the actual data. If people adopt this religion, what happens to the people in that region? How many of them commit more crimes? I don't care what your interpretation of
All
the
right,
book is.
okay,
Wait.
let's
I'm making a
talk
point.
about it.
I'm making a point here. So I don't care what your interpretation of the book is or what you think the correct way to do Islam is. I care what happens to the majority of people when they adopt Islam, and they adopt female genital mutilation. They adopt Sharia law. They adopt less education of science, more education of religion. They have more crime rates, more rape rates, more marital rape rates. Like, when people adopt Islam, they do bad things. It's bad. Like, I don't care if you think it's the right Islam. It doesn't make a difference. If you think maybe they're just studying it incorrectly, it makes no difference, because if they adopt Islam, they do more bad things. You know what doesn't have that effect? Secularism. People adopt secularism, they do less bad things. I don't care if it's the correct version or the correct interpretation. It makes no difference. We can just look at the data. How many people do these crimes in secular nations versus Muslim nations? Muslim nations are worse. Problem solved. We know which is better.
I told you from beginning that this is all about the jungle rules. And when you go to Latin America, you see that crime is much higher than most Muslim countries on this planet. Okay, you cannot even go on the street. I didn't make research, but for example, South Africa, I know it's a Christian country.
I don't understand your point.
So dangerous. No, my point is that it doesn't have anything to do with Christianity or Islam. It has to do with the economy. It has to do with the jungle rule that some people have 1% of the world population have $110 trillion, while hundreds of millions of people live on $1 a day. Okay, and they
Well,
do all that to
I
survive,
partially agree
okay?
with you. So I partially
Okay.
agree that poverty is a large
Injustice.
one sec. So I partially agree that poverty is one of the biggest factors in causing crime rates and all the things. But do you know what gets people out of poverty? Science does this. And you know which ones have the highest science educations? The secular ones. The more secular, the more you go into non-religious, the more science education you have. The reason Islam is behind everyone else is because they don't educate women, and women don't educate their kids to become scientists. They educate them on religious garbage, which wastes their time. So the fact that religion is such a high focus in Muslim countries is the problem keeping them poor. If you got more into science like every other country did that were secular, you wouldn't be poor anymore, at least as poor. So yeah, poverty is a problem, and a lot of the cause of poverty is Islam. Like literally, as I mentioned earlier, the reason Islam is not the world leader in technology right now is because they banned math and trade in the 1200s when they were the world leaders. So yeah, poverty is a problem, and the reason they're in poverty is because of Islam.
Okay, can I now tell you that before Islam entered my home country, Iran, we didn't have scientists, we didn't have poets. After Islam entered in my home country, because at that time education belonged only to rich classes, and poor classes didn't have the right to study. After Islam entered Iran and Persia, everybody started to educate themselves, and we have a lot of poets, we have a lot of scientists like Ibn Sina, Zakaria Razi, and so on. And I have to tell you that now, for example, I'm following a Muslim organization that women are highly educated, women are leaders. Okay, so don't say Islam does this, Islam. There is a backward, version of Islam. I understand it, I accept it, but interpretation of Islam that some scholars, businessmen follow that, but there are Muslims who interpret Islam and Quran in the right way, and we believe in equality between men and women, and we believe that everybody have the equal rights, okay, both men and women. And if it hasn't happened yet, unfortunately, it's because of the Western countries, and they didn't want that the Middle East become developed, and they try to destroy this great, beautiful Muslim organization, because this organization is going to bring the godfather of international terrorism, which is Iranian regime, okay? And they didn't want that they bring down this regime. They bombed them in Iraq in 2003. They forced them to move now to Albania, but they are fighting and they are trying to bring down this regime. One day they will do that, and the Middle East will become peaceful and developed and become democratic. Yes, don't laugh. Yes, I know that you tried to
When was it
them.
peaceful before Western integration? Like before any of the Western countries got there, was it ever peaceful?
How about Europe? Was it peaceful before? No, it has always everywhere.
Right, so Islam doesn't actually make it peaceful.
It make it peaceful if people understand it, yes, because there is no
when does that ever occur? So let me put it this way. No one will ever interpret Islam the way you do. It will never be the majority in Islam. Never going to happen. Your personal subjective interpretation, the way you think the right Islam should be, will never be the case. What we see now is going to be the case.
You are negative.
I don't know why you're talking over me. I don't know why you're talking over me. You haven't even heard my point yet. So the fact that you have a subjective interpretation, which very few Muslims actually adhere to, and you think that your correct interpretation should be implemented, makes no difference. No one else in the Muslim world cares. They all have their own personal interpretations. Stop interrupting. All people in the Muslim world, like in all religions, have their own personal subjective interpretations. What matters is what is the most likely thing to happen when people adopt the religion. What is the most common interpretations of the religion? The most common interpretations of Islam are extremely violent and backwards and less scientific. So it's a bad ideology. It doesn't matter if you think, well, if we all adopted the perfect version of Islam that literally no one accepts, then all of the world will be better. That's a nice hypothesis that's never been tested. When we actually adopt Islam in large portions of the planet, we see lots of crime, lots of death, lots of rape, lots of human rights violations. We don't ever see this perfect little Islamic society you think's going to happen in your own personal subjective interpretation. Doesn't occur. What we do see is the best societies are the ones that adopt secularism, humanism. We can literally see it happening. We can see as people become more secular, they become better people, less crime, less poverty, more compassion, more acceptance of the LGBT community. Definitely not something that's going to happen in Islam. Less violent, less murder, less theft, less rape, every possible metric. We see it getting better in secular nations. The fact that you have a personal subjective interpretation of Islam you think will make the world better doesn't matter because no one else in Islam agrees.
Okay, now can I talk?
Go ahead.
First of all, just because it hasn't happened, it doesn't mean that it will never happen. We are, in the past, we were not educated. People were not educated. There was no such a media and education, okay? Now we are educating ourselves, media and so on. So we are coming to that point. And I said that we are millions, okay? We are trying to do that. And unfortunately, we are stopped somehow. They try to stop us, those powers who don't want to see peace and stability in the Middle East because they can sell hundreds of billions of dollars weapons to the Middle East. They need conflicts and they need cheap oil and so on. So they don't want this to see this beautiful, democratic region. But another thing is that I said that all these problems is because of the jungle and the rules. And that allows you to become, richer by killing millions of people. Secularism, how secularism can solve the problem that is caused by tobacco? Can you please explain for me? 5 million people die every year on this planet because of tobacco companies want to become richer. Can you give me the good system or way that can get this problem fixed?
Yes, we're literally doing it. Like Australia has implemented like pictures on the sides of cigarette cases that are showing lung cancer, and they're making them a dark green, and this has decreased sales and consumption of cigarettes by almost half in the past 10 years. So yeah, we're literally doing that. We're literally decreasing the rate of death by tobacco by magnitudes each year, thanks to secular nations using science and what makes people not want to buy the packages. So like we've done research into what is the most displeasing color, and it's like a dark green shade, and so they make all of the colors, all of the colors of the boxes all a dark green shade, which decreases sales of the tobacco things. So yes, we're making legislation in the secular governments in order to decrease sales, which decrease the cost of the deaths to tobacco. We're also increasing scientific discoveries in the curing of cancer, which decrease the deaths of tobacco. So yeah, we're solving these problems literally every day in the secular nation. Islam isn't solving them. Science is.
Okay, can I now respond to that?
Go ahead.
First of all, I heard that there were some feminist organization who complained to United Nations that these tobacco companies, they make advertisement that cigarette make you thin and then sexy, so they target women to increase their sale. Okay, yes, and then there is another thing is alcohol killing also millions of people. No, the solution is, my friend, is that you get rid of the system of the jungle that people can get become billionaires by selling cigarettes, okay? If they cannot sell it, I promise you, tomorrow they will close down. They will not produce a single, pack of cigarette.
Yes, crime is not a thing. There is zero crime. No one sells cocaine in America. It does not happen. Clearly.
Every problem will disappear. These weapon cartels,
will disappear.
They will not. I tell you that they will not. This is in Islam. Islam says that the source is one source. Okay, it's describe it as Satan, but it is the system, the jungle system, that allows that 1%. Have $110 trillion while hundreds of millions of people live on $1 a day, and they don't stop there. They want to become richer and richer. So what they do, they create conflict in different places to sell their weapons. They only human trafficking is $150 billion industry. So no problem will disappear as long as we are living in the jungle with this jungle system. So
yeah, because Islam doesn't have any of those problems significantly worse than the Western nations.
Sorry,
Yeah, because
Islam what?
because Islam doesn't have those problems like opium. No one illegally sells opium in any Islamic country.
No, they
never
sell.
happened.
They
There
sell.
are no rich warlords who take advantage of the system in Islam. Nope, never happened. Zero cases of that in every country.
TJump, you don't understand. I said that they don't follow Islam. They follow the rules of the jungle as well. They are not Muslim. They follow the rules of the jungle.
Okay.
The
So
satanic system is all in everywhere on this planet is ruling the planet. Okay.
So we're going to adopt Islam, and all of the true Muslims aren't going to commit crimes, but the amount of crime rate is going to go up. There's going to be more crime rate if we adopt Islam because most people just won't be following it. Great strategy. This is a great. We should just implement Islam, and most people won't follow it, and the rate of crime will go up. But the ones that do will be fine.
I didn't understand what you said.
Okay.
If they adopt Islam, what happens? The rate of crime goes up?
Yes.
Why?
In every country.
I said that if you want to truly adopt Islam, is that to get rid of this jungle system, okay? Because the problem is from the jungle system, that you get rich by selling drugs. You get rich by, selling your body. You get rich by human trafficking.
Tell you what.
You get rich by, yes.
If you can implement this in a Muslim country, get a Muslim country to do all of these things and solve all of these problems, then you will have a legitimate argument. But you don't.
Exactly.
All of the Muslim countries are worse in all of these things.
I understand. TJ, I understand that one, okay? And I said that we are going towards that world, okay? We are small now. We have created that one. It's a very small city, and no crime happens there. It's a beautiful Ethiopia. It's perfect, but it's a small city, and we are trying to, make it on everywhere on this planet. And then it takes time. I don't say it take 10 years, 20 years. It might take hundreds of years, all right? But we are starting, we are getting there, all right? If I could share with you these people, brave people who are fighting against this, terrorist regime in Iran, and they want to bring democracy and freedom, and they are loved by Christian, by Jews, by atheists, by everybody. Everybody loved them, okay? Thousands of European parliamentarians, hundreds of American senators, support them, okay? To bring down Iranian fascist regime, because they say that they are the legitimate alternative to this fascist regime, and they are Muslim. They want to bring democracy, freedom, equality between men and women. Women are on the top in that organization. It is called People's Mujahideen Organization of Iran. So we are millions, but we are not hundreds of millions. I know, but we are on the right track.
Right. So I'm happy for you. I totally agree. I think that I would be all for your version of Islam, moderate Islam, to take over and replace all of the majority of Islam. And I think that's a good thing. I'm totally for that. And I think that would definitely bring a lot of benefits to every single Islamic country. But that's not what most people interpret Islam to be.
I understand.
And even if we did that, there's still already a better alternative. There's still already a better ideology which does all of those things to a better extent, which is secular humanism.
Better? Which one?
Secular humanism. Secular humanism does all of those things better already.
Okay, I asked you about this, the solution, but I know that secular humanism doesn't have that one. Okay,
it does. I told you secular humanism is solving all of those problems. It's just the one doing the work.
You said that to put, to make it black. I said that it is not the right way. The right way is to get rid of the source, which those companies will close down tomorrow. Okay, they will not produce a single pack of cigarettes. The tobacco company, the drug cartels, they will not produce a single gram of drug.
Yes.
For example,
I heard what you said, but again, crime is a thing. So even if you shut down all of the tobacco industries, people will still wait. So people will still create tobacco and still sell it, even if you shut them down, and they will still make millions. Stop interrupting for a second. So The correct solution is the way the secular nations are doing it, through legislation, through working together, through voting people into office. That is the correct way to do it, not just to simply outright ban everything we don't like. That's a bad idea. Some people like cigarettes. Some people choose to take cigarettes, and that's fine. They have a right to do that. Just banning it would be wrong. The correct solution is to do what the secular nations are doing, which is to give people the option. They can choose to do it if they want, but then to de-incentivize it so they can choose not to, by making it, showing the cancer on the boxes, by making it a bad color. That way people have the freedom to choose, and they can do it if they want to, but they have the knowledge that it has a bad impact. That is the correct solution. The secular nations are doing the correct thing, and the Islamic solution that you're proposing is not the correct thing.
TJ, please, when I say something, don't change it. I didn't say shut it down. I said that if we get rid of the source, which is you cannot become rich by selling cigarette, okay? Take away from that system, the money system. What I'm going to say is the money system that, okay, you can produce it for free. No tobacco company will, continue to produce. You say to give choice, then let's sell heroin and cocaine in the stores and give choice to people, okay?
Yes. I'm for that. I'm all for that. I'm thinking that we should legalize drugs. Like there are many countries, like Paraguay did that. Yes, we should do that.
Even secular countries, they do not agree with that because it will kill. I have made a documentary movie, by the way, about alcohol. I shot it in the movie in Russia and in Sweden. I compared Sweden to Russia. That in Russia you can everybody can buy alcohol anywhere in Russia, but the death rate is hundreds of thousands people in Russia, while in Sweden it's just few thousand, because in Sweden they have limited it. You cannot buy alcohol everywhere. It's just special liquor stores. So Sweden doing it much better. So if you make it available, then millions of people will die. So
that's if people choose to drink and they choose to get alcohol poisoning, that's their choice. They have the right to make that choice. Banning it is the wrong thing to do. Like if people choose to smoke, even knowing that they could get lung cancer and knowing they could die, they still have the right to have the ability to choose for themselves that they can smoke. That is the morally better position. That's why the secular nations are better here. They are correct to say, if you want to take the risk that you can get lung cancer and you choose to take cigarettes, you have that right. You have the freedom to make that choice. The secular nations are morally correct to give people the choice that they want to take cigarettes. You are incorrect just banning them from doing it.
I said that I'm not going to ban anything. I told you how many times I have to say, TJ, I say
banning money?
No, I said that get rid of that system which allows you to become billionaire by producing cigarettes or producing drugs or producing weapons.
So you want to ban money?
No, I want to ban the system that I said, I read it.
Which system? Like capitalism?
No, capitalism is the devil. Okay. Yes,
capitalism has saved millions of lives, so it's not the devil. Like which system? Which system do you want to get rid of?
Equality, a system that we share everything with each other.
You want to get rid of equality?
Sorry?
Which system do you want to get rid of? Like I'm not following. What system?
I want to get rid of the capitalism.
You want to get rid of?
No, I don't want to get rid of. I want to, I want that people. God wants that people live equal, share everything with each other, okay? That's why we stand towards Mecca every day and say, show me the right way. What happens in Mecca is equality. People are equal in that when we go to Hajj, we dress equal, everybody equal, no rich, no poor. We say to God, I accept it, and then we reject the opposite of it, which is inequality, which is the symbol of that is Satan, okay? I say Satan is the capitalism. So the source of all problems is the capitalist system, okay? That allows the companies, those tobacco companies, to become billionaire by selling cigarettes, okay? So if they cannot sell their cigarette, okay, we get rid of that system, then they will not produce it. I don't say ban it, okay? I said that let's share everything with each other, okay, equally. Love one another. I don't want to see hundreds of millions of people go on $1 a day and go hungry because some people want to have Ferrari, Lamborghini, Bugatti, and so on, in such a luxury life. I'm against this, jungle system. I believe that we are not human. We are animals. I said it in the beginning that God wants us to be human, okay? And a human is the one who sacrificed for others, for his own kind. Animal. So you think that, do you think that Adolf Hitler was a human and you are a human? I don't think so.
Yes.
I don't.
We were both
If you're
humans,
human-
and humans are also animals. Like, yes, we're both humans.
No. Okay. What is animal? Animal is a form or what? Can you tell me? What is animal?
Animal is a kind of reproductive eukaryote.
It's a way of life.
It's a
Animal is
reproductive
way of life.
eukaryote with spinal cord. I think that's animal.
Okay. No. Look. So when I say animal, do you come to a form? When I say animal, do you come to a form? Do you imagine a form?
A form?
Yes, like when I say horse, you come to a form. A horse is an animal that goes on 4 legs. It's big. I haven't said red horse. When I say red horse, you come to the color of that animal as well. Okay, so horse is a form. All right, but animal is not a form. It's a way of life. Selfishness. Me, just me. I don't care about anyone else. That's animal for me. Human is also a form. When I say human, is not a form. It's a way of life. It's when you sacrifice yourself for your own kind. You love others. As Jesus says as well, love your neighbor as you love yourself. Love one another. Okay, so human is also for me a way of life. I have heard in all nations, I think, is this, that person is a real human, or that person is a real animal. So if human is a form like horse, have you ever heard that somebody say that horse is a real horse? No, there is no such a thing.
Yes, I've
Horse
literally
is a
heard that
horse.
statement many times.
Horse is a horse, dog is a dog, but there is real human, there is unreal human. Okay.
Well, so I get what you're trying to say. When I hear animal, I think of the biological evolutionary definition. When I think of human, I think of the biological evolutionary definition. But I understand what you're trying to say. But so back to the point, capitalism is not evil. Capitalism has saved billions of lives. Is it perfect?
Okay.
No, but capitalism does work. Capitalism works better than socialism or communism.
Why
Hold on, one sec.
billions of people? No, can you explain billions of people how?
By producing economic sustainability. So capitalism generates desire for people to work, and that desire to people to work produces goods, and those goods can then fill people's houses. The reason most poor people have TVs and cars and radios and microwaves is because someone built the technology and sold it to make money, and they were inspired to build more companies because they could make more money, and so they expanded and built companies all over the world and grew technology and wanted to cut costs so they could make more technology. And so the incentives of capitalism and making money have inspired people to produce technology that has spanned the entire globe. Capitalism is a good thing. It's not perfect, but it is a good force to making technological progress in the world, and it has done more than communism or socialism or any of the other alternatives. And that's why money and capitalism are, even though they're not perfect, they are good forces to make progress in the world. And so abolishing capitalism is a different topic, it's a different debate topic, but not a good idea.
Okay, so first of all, it's another topic, I know, okay, but from the beginning I said it. Another thing is that you say that if capitalism didn't exist, then we would still go by a horse and donkey. That's absolutely wrong, because
I didn't say that.
Capitalism has stopped humanity from developing. Second World War, First World War.
Those had nothing to do with capitalism, but
nothing to do with capitalism,
No.
of course. Yeah, only my country could be second Japan, and
second Japan.
help the humanity much more than instead now spreading terrorism and conflict in the region. If capitalism didn't bring our democratic prime minister in 1953, okay, so capitalism has done a lot damage. Only trying to steal information from each other instead sharing with each other. This is capitalism. If we shared information with each other, even during this coronavirus, okay, if they shared information with each other, then they would reach this the vaccine much faster than they did, because they tried. Of course, I heard that in this pandemic they try to share with each other, but mostly they don't share anything with each other. They keep it for their own companies. and they even try to sabotage each other so that they the other company, come to this that technology.
Yeah, if they had
or
to share it, they
steal
wouldn't
from
make
each
it. So the whole point here is that the reason that they keep it to themselves and the reason that they can gain profit is the whole reason that they're doing it in the first place. If they had to share everything,
Yes.
nobody would make it. So the fact that people can keep it to themselves and make profit on their end is one of the reasons that people do the work to discover things, because they know that they're going to make profit if they do get the discovery. So yes, I know it's not perfectly moral. We should just be like, just give every cure to vaccines for free, but that doesn't, people won't do the work to discover them if they had to give it away for free. The reason they do the work to discover it is so that they make money. So even though it isn't a perfect system, it does correspond to our moral nature that we want profit and things. So we will do work if we get paid, but if we aren't getting paid, we won't do work. And so the capitalist system is more likely to encourage work to get done. And I didn't say that we would not, we would still be in the Stone Age if we didn't have capitalism. Capitalism accentuates growth. It makes it faster, and that's why it is good. It doesn't mean we can't grow without capitalism. It just makes it faster. So,
And guys,
yeah,
that is actually the open discussion. I want to thank both the Perfect Dawah and TJump for joining us. We are about to move into the Q&A, but I'm actually going to hand it back over to our interlocutors for their closing statement. TJump, the floor is all yours.
Yeah, it seemed like most of his argument is that he has a particular view of Islam, which he thinks is the correct Islam, and everyone else is using the incorrect Islam, and therefore he thinks if we spread his version of Islam, we'll see a benefit to the world. But most people don't interpret Islam in his way, so if we did spread Islam, they would interpret it in the other ways, which are far more harmful. And I don't see any evidence of his way being able to be successfully convince the majority of Muslims to adopt his interpretation. So most likely if we did adopt Islam, they'd interpret it in the more vicious ways. And so I would not advocate for adopting Islam. I would definitely advocate for adopting secular humanism, which does not have the same problems.
All right. I would like to say as well that I said on my opening statement that it is beyond most people's imagination. We are living in this, dimension, and that's kind of another dimension. Of course, it's because we have been living in this jungle too long, so it is most probably very impossible for many people to see something beyond that. And I said to you, TJ, that TJump, sorry, Tom, yeah, and that I'm not alone. We are millions. And that interpretation is not just mine. We are millions, and we are starting to understand because of the technology, because of education. We are trying to understand people. For example, when something I don't understand in Quran, I contact a fellow Muslim who is Arab, and he's also educated as well. I get help from him that can you please help me with this verse of Quran, for example. And there are small details he helped me. So in the past, I wouldn't have this opportunity. Now we have this opportunity to talk to each other and to consider with each other that this is cannot be right and that cannot be right and so on. So we are starting to wake up definitely, and we will reach that. This is a promise from God in Islam that one day it's going to happen. It is in Abrahamic religion actually that one day the world will come to that. We have Messiah, all of us, and one day the world will be filled with justice and equality. And yes, I was going to say that you said that people will not do anything for if the money doesn't exist. That's, of course, that's when we are want to live like animals, okay, in this jungle. Yes, we don't do anything for money. But if we follow the command of God, Allah, then he will reward us. We do everything for the reward, and he reward us with the heaven. And that's why we do even more, okay? We do much more beyond your imagination. And I have the proof, this organization that I'm following, they're Muslim, they work 24 hours. They have been fighting 43 years now, and they don't get a single dollar for their work. Sometimes they don't sleep in several days. They just have a rest when they are driving somewhere in the car or something, a little bit and so on. when they have to. And they have shown that religion has a great power that can, make people do possible the impossible. Okay. Yes. That was all.
Thank you both. Oh, let me make sure the screen. I want to now remind everyone we are going to be moving into our Q&A section. This is a chance for you to send in your questions to either or both of our interlocutors, TJump and the Perfect Dawah. We also have super chats turned on. So remember, folks, don't forget to like and subscribe. But with that, let the fun begin. We have 1990 in Malaysian from Azira Schizophrenia. Question for TJump. How do you refute someone who says physics shows the authority of God over us?
Is there any evidence for that? Like, it's like saying potatoes show the superiority of the potato monster over us. Like, you'd have to actually provide evidence or something. Like, just an assertion that physics exists, therefore God, isn't actually evidence of anything.
Question, $5 super chat from Richard Head says Flipper died for your fins. Thank you, Richard. 40 from Purdue. Dawah, are you against Iran and why? Are you in, I think that's Mecca, so maybe Mecca, M-E-K?
M-E-K. No, yes. I'm Iranian. I cannot be against Iran. I'm against the fascist terrorist ISIS regime of Iran. And MEK is a great organization that has been fighting two different dictators, the past dictator and the present dictator. And they have support among thousands of parliamentarians in Europe and senators in USA. Just a few months ago, Trump's vice president and foreign minister, both of them were supporting MEK, and hundreds of other senators and parliamentarians and seculars, Marxists, Christian, Jews who love this organization and do everything for this organization to bring down the fascist dictator regime of Iran. So they are great people, and I don't know anyone better than these people who have left everything for their people, sacrifice for their people and their freedom.
Super chat coming in from Purdue again. Dawah, what is Quran 9:29?
I have to
_29.
I have to, because I don't memorize it, so I have to read it. Maybe I can, if you have to, maybe you can go another question and I will find this verse. Okay.
Sure.
For maybe TJ.
Trying to find one for TJump. Go to normal question. Question to TJump, if possible, did you mean Surah 2-214, the orders apostates to be killed? Quote, whoever so apostatized from his religion, let him die for it, and he is an infidel, unquote.
Well, I don't care about any of the specific quotes from the Quran. I care about what is the interpretation of people who are Muslim. So if we're asking which is the better for society, we need to know how do Muslims act, and if they believe that is a part of Islam, whether or not it actually says so. I don't care what the surah is. I care how do people who are Muslims act and believe is kosher to act in Islam. So I don't care about the surahs. All I care about is what do most Muslims do if they adopt Islam, and that's what's indicative of that Islam is bad, is the fact that most Muslims think that that is correct, regardless of what the Quran says. Who cares what the Quran says? I want to know how Muslims act.
All right, now I can answer that question. You want? Yeah.
Sure.
Yes, chapter 3, verse 7 says that Quran has precise and unspecific verses, and The true meaning of the unspecific verses of Quran is known only by Allah and those firm in knowledge. So how those firm in knowledge understand the true meaning of those unspecific verses of Quran is that they put them beside other verses of Quran. So chapter 29 verse 46, because chapter 9 verse 29 was saying about Christian and Jews that if those who don't believe in Allah and the last messenger fight them and and so on. So chapter 29 verse 46 says that, and do not argue with the people of the scripture except in a way that is best, except for those who commit injustice among them, and say, we believe in that which has been revealed to us and revealed to you, and our God and your God is one, and we are Muslims in submission to him. Chapter 2 verse 62, those who believe and those who are Jews and Christians and Sabians, whoever believes in Allah and the last day and do righteous good deeds shall have their rewards with their Lord. On them shall be no fear, nor shall they grieve. So there are many other verses of Quran that talks about Jews and Christian. So people take one verse out of context and say that, oh, look here, Allah says this. But you see that in other verses, Allah says, how to deal with them. It is all about those who fight you. In Islam, there is no compulsion of religion, and you cannot fight non-combatants, okay? Only those who attack you, and as long as they fight you, okay? If you want, I can bring up the verses as well. As long as they fight you, when they stop fighting you, you have to stop fighting too, because Allah does not like those who start the fight. This is clear verses of Quran. And then I will have to say that after this, right away on my channel, I go live, and those who have more questions, please welcome and join me on my channel right away after this, and I can talk to you longer there.
That's right. If you like what either of our interlocutors say, both of their channels are linked in the description below. $5 super chat from Mr. Monster. Destroying the idols in Mecca was an act of terror, was it not?
All right, it wasn't in Mecca, it was in Kaaba, and Kaaba was built by Prophet Abraham, and for a great reason. I was talking about that God wants us to, want to guide us out of the jungle, and that Mecca is and the most important place in Islam. Is like that somebody comes and build something in your house that you don't believe and you don't want it there, then you want to throw it out. Okay, so that's is not is not a crime, is nothing bad, because, for example, you change a mosque that Muslim have built, and somebody come and occupy it and build idols there, put idols there, then you have the right to, when you take it back, you have the right to remove them, because it was yours from beginning. You built it there. Okay, so and there is no compulsion in Islam, and you can have your idols anywhere else. That's up to you. Your judgment is with God, not with me.
$5 super chat from Zwexel. Death for apostasy is very well established in the Hadith, not the Quran. It is a consensus among all major scholars throughout history.
Okay, it's yes, many scholars now they reject it. Okay, and it goes. You have to first know it doesn't, because it is like this, that every Muslim knows that when I die, I will be questioned by God, not those scholars. If I go and kill an apostate, okay, and Allah asks me why you killed that apostate, I cannot say that the Hadith said it and then those scholars, they agree with that. He will punish me because I went against Quran. Quran says no compulsion in religion. Hadith cannot come and say, and Quran, I read for you several verses of Quran that says that their punishment, those who reject, those who believe, and then the apostates, and leave Islam, their punishment is with Allah, not with me, okay? And Allah doesn't say anywhere in Quran to go and kill apostates. In fact, it says in many verses that you have no right to kill innocent people or non-combatants and no compulsion in religion. I can read for you many verses of Quran that goes against that hadith. So any hadith goes against Quran is fabricated. Whoever say that, okay?
Thank you. And back-to-back super chats from Zwexel. Killing for apostasy is hypocrisy because they are killing people for doing the exact same thing that they themselves encourage others to do.
Was it for me or?
I am not 100% sure. It doesn't have a someone tagged. Either one of you, feel free to respond though. I can read again. Killing for apostasy is hypocrisy because they are killing people for doing the exact same thing that they themselves encourage others to do.
TJ, you want to say something? Because I don't know if it is a question.
Yeah, it's just a comment essentially saying that if you have a rule that you're not allowed to change your faith and their whole idea is to convert people to Islam by changing their faith, and it's hypocrisy because they're outlawing the thing that they're trying to do, which is sort of true in general.
No, and I said that, of course, there is no such a law in Islam. I can, if you go to next question, I will find the verses again and read for them.
Sure. I think I do have one for TJump. $5 from Corey Gorowski. TJump, how important would you say is science and skepticism within secular humanism?
It's probably like the most important thing. Most people like worship science essentially and skepticism. It's one of the most foundational tenets of the ideology.
Okay, let me read for you this chapter 16, verse 106. Whoever disbelieves in Allah after his belief. So this is about apostates, except for one who is forced to renounce his religion while his heart is secure in faith. But those who willingly open their breast to disbelief, upon them is wrath from Allah, and for them is a great punishment. And there are so many other verses. So there is nowhere in Quran says that their punishment is by me or by, some uneducated Muslim from a far remote village of Afghanistan or somewhere else, goes and kill people because they disbelieve. There is no such a thing in Quran. We have no right to judge people because these people can come to Islam tomorrow or next year or in 10 years. So Allah says in Quran that He gives. Let me find the verse for you very fast. In chapter 16, verse 61, if Allah were to punish people immediately for their wrongdoing, He would not have left a single living being on earth, but He delays them for an appointed term. And when their term arrives, they cannot delay it for a moment, nor can they advance it. So Allah says here that it is His decision when He can take out someone. It's not my decision. So He's not going to punish people immediately, and I have no right to punish people immediately either, okay? Because they have the right to repent in Islam, so we have no right to kill anybody for anything except for self-defense. And that's as the last option, not the first option.
Thank you. $2 super chat from Joe Schwartz. Can each one of you say one nice thing about each other?
I'm actually a big fan of his version of Islam. I think the moderate version of Islam is something that should be very lauded and praised, because I think that the moderate version of Islam is a huge improvement over the majority version of Islam. So I think that his work is very important, and I am very happy to support his work and his interpretation of Islam, and think it should definitely be more accepted and interpreted by secular nations, more accepted his version than the contemporary one.
Thank you very much. And I say also that as long as you try to help humanity, which I am happy that you at least believe in, secular humanism, not that you don't believe in anything. Okay, that's good as well. And as long as you do good things and then you try to help people, that's a great thing. And we are brothers in creation, as Islam has taught me, that we might have disagreement and we have to help each other. Yes, and I would be more than glad to work with you than with some extremist Muslim who want to kill you because you disbelieve or because you are someone else is apostate. So I prefer you over them, because at least you are not going to kill people unjustly. All right.
Thank you, both of you. 40 rupees from Pudu again. Dawah, why Allah want to test us? Says no Muslim ends me yet. I think he's saying he's not a Muslim yet, but why does Allah want to test us?
I don't think it's I don't take it as a test. I take it as he wanted to. He created this animal, but he gave us the ability to understand. So, and he wanted us to develop to that human nature, or that nature as a human way of life, by his guidance. So it is kind of a work. I cannot say it's a test, because you cannot test monkeys, for example, because they don't understand anything. So when we didn't understand in the past, we were like monkeys, or we had little knowledge, then that wouldn't be a test. So Allah wanted to guide us, to help us to develop. He waited billions of years for the moment that we develop like today, and then of course we need more to develop, and he tried to guide us. I don't see it as a test. Okay, I see it as a beautiful picture. He had the power to create this picture, and he did it. And for me, that's a great picture that he's painting. That this selfish animal, he changed it to something that is better than angels, and he sacrificed himself for his own kind or his own belief. Okay.
Thank you. $5 super chat from Zargos. TJump asked the perfect Dawah about the extreme pedo with prepubescence in 65-4 and 4-34, quote, wife beating and sexual slavery.
Okay. Let me answer that. There is no that verse doesn't talk about prepubescent girls. It's talking about women who haven't seen menstruation. It is in the chapter women. It is not in the chapter girl. Al-Nisa means women. Okay, so those who have translated or interpreted in that way, they just have gone after that fabricated hadith, because it says that your wives and their period waiting period is 3 months. And for those who haven't seen a menstruation, it doesn't say girls or who haven't reached, for example, age of menstruation. And then about the wife beating, let me tell you that also. Chapter 434 says that, first of all, this is Quranic verses have come to solve problems, okay? And this was a problem. Wife beating was a problem. If Quran was for beating wives, if Quran wanted people beat their wives, then Allah wouldn't send a verse to ask people to beat their wife, because people were doing that. Women, they're slaves. Women were not human beings. Just check during lockdown in Mexico, within few months, 1,000 women were killed in domestic problems in 21st century. So Allah didn't need to send a verse say that to men to beat their wives. They were doing it. Only if they didn't do that, then he wanted them beat their wives, then he would send a verse and say, oh, why you don't beat your wife? You have to beat your wife. So this doesn't make sense at all. The verse says that men are providers of women by what Allah has given one over the other and what they spend from their wealth. So righteous women are devotedly guarding in the absence, husband's absence, what Allah would have them guard. But those wives from whom you fear arrogance, first advise them, then if they persist, forsake them in bed, and finally leave them. But if they change their ways, seek no means against them. Surely Allah is the highest, the greatest. So next next verse, chapter 4, verse 35, explain that Allah says leave them, because that strike, I will tell you also, has been used in Quran many times. The next verse says that, and in case you fear split between the two, wife and husband, then send forth a judge from his family and a judge from her family. So not only he has the right to decide, but she has also the right to decide to come back or not after he left her, okay? Allah will cause them to reach an agreement between them. Surely Allah is all knowing. Chapter 4, 128. If a woman fears indifference or neglect from her husband, there is no blame on the, this is now for women, okay? Women also have right if they have their husband, neglect them, okay? Blame on their, either of them if they seek fair settlement, which is best. Chapter 33, verse 28 to 31, Allah is talking to Prophet Muhammad about his wife. And all these verses, Allah is talking about his wife. There is no single word to say that, oh, Muhammad, beat your wife, okay? And chapter 66, verse 1 to 5 is the same about Prophet Muhammad and his wife. Allah doesn't say a single word that you beat your wife. Strike is ignored in chapter 43, verse 5. So there are a lot of verses. As I said, if you like to hear more, you can come to my channel after this, and I will read all those verses for you.
Thank you. Question from YouTube, Flaked. For the perfect Dawah, why should an Iranian follow Islam, quote, an Arab religion, and not Zoroastrianism, quote, the native religion of Iran?
Okay, because this is absolutely wrong, to say this, that, for example, a European cannot follow Judaism or Hinduism or, other religion, or I don't know, maybe, for example, Swedish cannot become Christian because they had also pagan origin. They should follow their, parents. Or somebody from Chile cannot become a Marxist because Marx was, from Germany. This is absolutely wrong. When you see something is right, then you have the right to follow that, that belief, wherever it comes from. All right.
Thank you. Question from Church of Entropy. For both, is Islam a sect of Catholicism?
You wanted to, because...
And that is for both. Either wants to go first.
I think it's more like a sect of Judaism, an offshoot of Judaism. I don't think it'd be a sect of Catholicism, because I don't think they accept Jesus. So more of like a sect of Judaism.
All right, now I can answer. God sent prophets, a lot of prophets in the past, and one by one were completing the other one, okay? Moses was completing the previous prophets. Jesus was completing Moses' message, and Prophet Muhammad completed all messages. As I said in the beginning, that God wanted to solve our problems entirely. So he put his final message, which I read, and said that it is equality in Quran and in Islam, and gave it to Prophet Muhammad. so that that message take us out of the jungle we are living in, and everybody love one another, share everything with each other, and get rid of this jungle system that me, just me, and I'm ready to kill millions of people to become richer and richer. So this is my answer to that question, that it is the completion of the previous messages, not a sect of those messages. Yes.
And then a follow-up and a reminder, you can always send your questions to either or both of our debaters. Once again, a follow-up from Church of Entropy to both. Who wrote the Quran? What evidence supports this?
I don't know.
Okay, who wrote the Quran? Quran was memorized by many companions of Prophet Muhammad, and it was written in partly on different, skin and so on, and woods, but entirely was memorized by a companion of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. And because after Prophet's death, and so there were some battles, and some companions were killed, so they decided that they have to put those verses in a book so that it is saved. And they did it. They put it in a book, and it was protected by God, so that nothing will enter this book. And what the great evidence for that it was protected by God is that the verse of stoning adulterers, which is a barbarian, act of pagans, Roman pagans, they were stoning adulterers, but not men. They were stoning women, because men could marry as many wives as they wanted. So but women didn't have the right, because women were property of their men. So if a woman commit adultery, so they would stone her to death. Okay, and these barbaric acts was entered into Bible and Torah, but they tried to insert it in Quran, and they couldn't. So what they did, they came with fabricated hadiths and said that the verse came down, but it was eaten by a goat. And yes, it was eaten by a goat, but which is absolutely lie. God would never allow me, a sinner, to punish another sinner for his or her sin, especially in such a barbaric way. God is the most merciful and forgiving God, and I have no right to punish anyone, okay, for any crimes. It's only God who has the right to punish people, because I'm not the right judge. I only can, treat them, to teach them, to guide them. The guidance, Quran has many verses, says to his Prophet Muhammad, the guidance has come. Let who believe, and who disbelieve, reject it, let them reject it. You are not controller over them. You are just a messenger. So I'm also giving the same message that Prophet Muhammad has given, and it's up to people to accept it or reject it. I have no right to punish anybody, to judge anybody, okay? So this is a great evidence that Quran was protected, because those people who wanted to corrupt Quran and they couldn't, so they came with this fabricated hadith and said that the stoning of adulterers came down and it was eaten by a goat.
Thank you. And then $5 super chat from Zargos. I do see the end of that. I'm just appeasing the TOS gods, but thank you for your question. He asks, 65.4 is not an Nisa, it's Talik, liar. Also, what do you call a woman who hasn't had a period yet?
So asking me?
Yes.
All right. So there are women who have problem. They don't have their period. They never menstruate. This is known. Okay. Or their menstruation is not regulated. Okay. So it might delay months, or even because the period was 3 months in that verse. Okay. So it was not possible for a woman who has not her menstruation, that 3 months wasn't, Quran says that this 3 months is for all, even for those who haven't had their menstruation, or their menstruation is not, how do you call it? Is not regulated, or I don't know how to say it, but anyway, it's for those women who have problem with their menstruation.
Thank you. And then a question coming in from Gina. Gina from Cologne. My question to the perfect Dawah: which one of the 38 different Arabic Qurans do you follow? The YouTube channel DCCI published scientific research on the thousands of textual variants plus errors.
Okay, I don't know who is that, because I gave you a clear evidence that that Quran was preserved and protected, okay? And those scholars who wanted to enter a verse in Quran, they couldn't, okay? They came with many fabricated hadiths, okay? And said the verse came down and it was eaten by a goat. So if Quran was corrupted, they would easily insert that verse as well there. They did it with Bible and Torah. And I say to my, brothers and sisters, Christian brothers and sisters, and Jews, that the most loving God would never allow us to stone another human being to death. So those verses in those books are fabricated. That's why those books have been, fabricated or corrupted. But they couldn't do that with Quran, and they did in this way. So this is, if it was possible, if what they said is correct. There are some, a little bit maybe, how do you say it, different dialect maybe, but the meaning hasn't changed. The meaning is exactly how it came and how it should be, okay? So there is no, for example, as I said, a verse that has been inserted from a man or a person has been inserted in Quran. All verses are from God himself.
Thank you. And question from Duncan for TJump. Are you excited for Skynet? Doesn't the Terminator franchise offer an example of an ideally secular form of civilization?
Sort of. Like, yes, I'm looking forward to AIs actually taking over. It won't look like Skynet. We'll have a morality that is placed into them. Kind of looks like my morality and my YouTube channel. So no involuntary imposition of will. Impossible to force anyone to do anything they don't consent to doing. That'll be more like what society is going to look like when we have AIs. And yes, I'm looking forward to that.
Thank you. And question from Pudu. Ask the perfect Dawah. Ask that Dawah guy why Islam is not compatible with other religions.
What do you mean compatible? In which way? Do you understand?
I don't, but he can always send in a follow-up to that if he wants.
Yeah, give an example why it's not compatible. Why? I mean, Islam has the final message and the message that humanity needed, as I said, and then I don't know what he wants to say exactly. Okay, so he better write, or he even can, as I said, can call in after this. Call in on my channel. I will be live, and he can talk to me directly.
Thank you, and a big thank you for a $20 super chat from Doc. If it was perfectly memorized, why did the prophet say, "May Allah bestow his mercy on him, as he has reminded me of such and such verses of such a surah"? He's quoting someone, Sahih al-Bukhari, after hearing a man recite the Quran.
One second. Okay. I got to go to the bathroom, so I'll be back in a minute. And Amy, I put one of the super chats on my channel, which was a question for him. If you could read that like last or right before you go.
Sure.
Be back in a minute.
Okay. I don't know. I said that this is not a Sahih Bukhari. It has a lot of fabricated hadiths in that Bukhari. So I don't believe everything Bukhari has said. As I said, that he put this. He said that a verse of Quran is missing, and that's absolutely trash, because all verses of Quran are in Quran. He and Muslim is another hadith fabricator who put these fabricated hadiths and said that the verse of stoning came down, but it was eaten by a goat. So that's why it is not in Quran. So they tried in many different ways to put their own beliefs and ideas and in hadiths. So as I gave a good example that why it is perfectly preserved, that they tried but they couldn't to insert this verse, so they put it in a hadith. And I would like to say here as well again, I have said it several times before, that I want to have a debate with Daniel Hagagaju, and because he's misrepresenting Islam. He represents a very fascist view of Islam, and somebody like me has to stop him and show that he has zero knowledge of Islam. Islam is not what these backward ISIS followers describe. So I would like to ask him for a debate here on modern day debate. And I asked James last time. I don't know if he has asked this. Daniel, I call him Daniel ISIS Jew.
Thank you. And then a super chat coming in from Garrick, $5. Can you say one bad thing that true Muslims have done or do? Also, have either of you read Tommy Robinson's book or Simon Rushdie? I'll ask TJump the end, but if you'd like to answer, floor is yours. Perfect, Dawah.
Oh, yeah. I can say thousands of bad things that people do, okay? And they are Muslim or call themselves Muslims, okay? People make mistake, but of course, people like ISIS, Taliban, they do a lot of terrible bad deeds under the name of Islam, which is absolutely goes against the principles of Islam. And about those books, I know about Salman Rushdie, that he took fabricated hadith and said that there were some, satanic verses, that all of these are from fabricated hadiths, and they are not true. They are just some people were writing books to sell them and become richer. And Allah says in Quran, woe to you that you write with your own hands a book and want to sell it and say it is from God. Okay, so Allah, curse these people.
Thank you. And then TJump, if you would also like to answer, they want to know if you have read Tommy Robinson's book or Simon Rushdie.
Simon Rushdie,
not Simon.
That's true. It says Simon, but you're right. It's probably Salman Rushdie.
Salman Rushdie's The Satanic Verses. I've read most of that one. I haven't read any Tommy Robinson.
Yeah, Salman Rushdie, not Simon.
Now it makes me wonder if they were doing a joke, because it's Tony Robinson, right? And Salman Rushdie.
Yeah.
Sending love to everyone out there. Keep on sending in your super chats and questions. For Dawah, why don't more moderate Muslims condemn actions of radical Islamic groups? They provide too much coverage for bad actors, in my opinion.
Yeah, you're right. Exactly. They get too much coverage. As I said as well, that those those powers who want to sell weapons, they want to create conflicts. They don't want to cover such a groups, moderate groups, and they don't want us at all to, to bring down these dictators, these terrorists, to change the region, because they sell too many weapons. Okay, so they need conflicts, and we condemn them. We are fighting them. As I said, the Central Bank of International Terrorism and these 50 Republicans also, they said that Joe Biden is going to enrich all terrorists on the planet, giving them hundreds of billions of dollars. He's trying very hard. You cannot imagine how hard he's trying. He's giving everything to the Iranian fascist regime. The deal which Donald Trump here, he's trying hard to go back to that stupid, deal and give even nuclear weapon to the Central Bank of International Terrorism. And they censor us. They censor us very, very much. Okay. So unfortunately, it is that. But there are a lot of Muslims and scholars also who condemn these things, but these acts, but we don't get any coverage. Yeah.
Thank you. Question from YouTube Flaked. For the perfect Dawah, 2,000 years ago, before Islam was ever born, Zoroastrianism, Iran, was a highly rich country. Why would you claim Iran was nothing before Islam invaded it?
I didn't say it was nothing. I didn't say. I said that we didn't have. There was no any equal right for education. Only rich could educate themselves. We don't have scientists or poets before Islam came to Iran. After Islam came to Iran, even poor classes, they could also study. So they studied hard, and we had a lot of, artists, a lot of poets, a lot of scientists. As I said, Ibn Sina is one of them. Okay, so there were a lot of injustice before Islam come to Iran, and that's why some few Arabs could easily occupy an empire, because people didn't want to fight these new ideology. They saw them as, freedom fighters or whatever. That's why they didn't want to fight them back. Otherwise, few Arabs with, just sword couldn't occupy one of the biggest empire at that time.
Question from Muhammad Rashid. And for the perfect Dawah, wasn't the MEK, which the perfect Dawah belongs to, recognized as a terrorist organization throughout most of Europe and North America?
Okay. This is actually, I would like to talk to him directly, but because it's not possible. In 1997, when a so-called moderate president came to power in Iran, his name was President Khatami. So President Clinton wanted to appease that so-called, moderate president. So they put the biggest enemy of Iranian fascist regime in terrorist list to empower these so-called reformists against those so-called conservatives. But it turned out that it was a wrong policy, and MEK went to the court. And in 2003, by the way, Europe, by force of Jack Straw, British foreign minister, a corrupted man who was kicked out of the parliament a few years ago for corruption. That man forced also Europe to put MEK in terrorist list in order to appease the fascist regime of Iran. But the two courts in Europe and UK in 2009 removed MEK from terrorist list, said that this group is exactly freedom fighters. They're like partisans. They are not terrorists. So they forced European Union to remove MEK from terrorist list, and a court in Washington forced Hillary Clinton to remove MEK in 2012. Because all these courts, when it comes to the court and to justice, MEK wins. But when it comes to politics, yes, MEK lose, because politics, they think about their interest, the money, the oil, the weapon they want to sell. But courts think about, care about justice. And the courts, they ordered to all these governments to remove these freedom fighters from their, what is it? Sir, the parliamentarian who was killed a few months ago in London, Sir, what was his name? MS? Yes, do you remember? He was killed by a knife man. Sir MS. It was a few months ago he was killed. He was one of the greatest, supporter of MEK, and he was one of them who fought hard to remove MEK from terrorist list. He was a great man as well, and he was killed by terrorists, unfortunately.
Thank you. And then a question from Mohammed Rashid, but in a different direction, to TJump. Is TJump aware that on the Shahafi school within Sunni, which makes female genital mutilation mandatory, the majority of Muslims do not practice this?
Okay. I don't see how that's relevant to what I said. So yes, there are some interpretations that don't do bad things. The question is what did the majority do, and is it more prevalent in that ideology than other ideologies? And so if there are other ideologies that have less overall, like zero female genital mutilation in secularism, that's a better ideology. So the point here is that if you adopt Islam, a lot of people who adopt Islam do female genital mutilation. Therefore, Islam is less good than an ideology that has none of it.
Question from Pew Do. Please ask Dawah that without oil and gas, do you think most Muslim countries can survive? Don't include secular countries.
Okay. I think that somehow I wish that they didn't have oil and gas, because if they didn't have it, then the superpowers, they wouldn't have all this interest in them and keep them backward. Then instead they would move on and develop, and they would be on their own, and they would rely on other things. But unfortunately, because of this oil and gas, for example, now this Ukraine crisis is mostly because of oil and gas. Russia wants to secure its way to Europe, its oil and gas way to Europe. That's why. So all these problems is because of, as I said, because of money. And this oil and gas is also, of course, it's a big, huge benefit for them. And that's why they make coup d'etat, they support dictators in our countries, unfortunately. That's why we are trying to get rid of these dictators to develop, so that we are not just relying on oil and gas.
Thank you so very much. I will say these will be the last few questions. So if you tried to get in, I'll try and ask our interlocutors. But if you really want any other questions, I think they're going to have to get super chats. We're sending love to both of our interlocutors. And question from Joe Schwartz. Tongue-in-cheek, if Dawah apologizes for troublesome aspects of Islam, will TJump apologize for his chair?
Never.
All right, and moving right along, YouTube flaked. Question for the perfect Dawah. There is no proof that Abraham built Kaaba. None. Kaaba was a pagan temple all along. Please provide proof. Thank you.
All right. I don't know. I haven't gone to that archaeological part. But I believe that Quran is sent by God. I have a lot of rational explanation, at least for many people, or for myself, because I was an atheist, by the way. And I got these evidences that Quran is a message of God, and many proof I have as well. And that's why Quran says that it was built by Prophet Abraham, and I said that it is the final message of God, is the way out of the jungle. That's why we stand towards it. every day, 5 times a day, and ask God to show us the right way. And the right way is equality. Out of the jungle system that we are living, the inequality that make us to do all bad deeds to become richer and or to survive. Those who make $1 a day, they also have to do a lot of bad deeds to survive, to eat. Farmers of Afghanistan, they produce 90% of the world opium to survive. That's the system that make them to do that. Otherwise, they don't like to, to harm other people. Okay, so this is my answer, I think.
Thank you. And then a question from Shames Omar. Ask Perfect Dawah how many Islamic scholars he has discussed his version of Islam with, and were they convinced of his arguments?
First of all, there are scholars of Islam that I follow, as well as I said that they agree with me, and I said that we are millions. And I have had discussion with 2 scholars. One of them was too ashamed to share with me the video because he made a stupid argument about that verse of Quran, which was, they say that it was eaten by a goat. And he was a scholar. I don't say his name. Then another scholar, he was also too ashamed, and he was saying, don't record it, but I record it, and it is on my channel. And yes, of course, they were both, extremists, and they were not agree with my, my interpretation because they were extremists. And one of them was saying, for example, that we stone people because we want to, purify them so that when they go other side, they are not going to be punished. So it shows any Muslim understand that how irrational, uneducated is a scholar who says that we take God's responsibility here and punish people so that because it become a good deal that I go and, I do a crime, I rape somebody or have sex with somebody, and then I get stoned maybe 5 minutes in, and then I have the beautiful eternal life in heaven. Is that a good deal? So it shows very much how irrational such as scholars are. Okay, I have it, by the way, on my channel. The debate.
Thank you. And then a question from Pewdu. Ask Dawah, if Islam is peaceful, then why did most of the followers of Zoetarianism fly to India?
All right, Islam is peaceful, but of course, I said that not many, not everybody are peaceful, and some have gone after these fabricated hadiths or wrong interpretation, but mostly after fabricated hadiths and after following the scholars, wrong scholars who teach them wrong things, because Quran clearly says that no compulsion in religion. Oh Muhammad, you are just a reminder, you are just a warner. Okay, so the right is clear from the wrong, and so on. So everywhere in Quran says that fight only those who fight you, and fight as long as they fight. Okay, so there is no oppression, and there are so many other many other examples that how Muslims and Jews and Christians and other religions, they were living side by side in peace in hundreds of years in many, many places.
Thank you so very much. Question from Free Somali Minds. For Perfect Dawah, are you Sunni or Shia?
No, I'm none of them. I converted to Islam because I believe that Prophet Muhammad was not Sunni or Shia. So I follow Quran and those hadiths that, everything matches with Quran, even hadiths that match with Quran, then I follow them. I'm not following a, particular sect of Islam.
Thank you. Question for Your Way or Yahweh, tested by fire. Tell your friend TJump that I would be willing to humble him to the reality of Christianity being an objective truth.
Sure.
Is it that Sabat, you know that, TJ? I think he's the guy. Have you seen him?
I don't think so, but if he pays my $50 debate fee, he can debate me. But just wait for him to pay me my $50.
We support that. And hey, come contact James and all of us at Modern Day Debate. We'd love to have you. And all right, this is looks like the last 3 or 4 questions. Free Somali minds for perfect Dawah. Quran 16-75 talks about slavery. Do you believe slavery is good for society?
Absolutely not. I have to read the verse. Quran always say about treating people well and freeing slaves, because slavery. I said that Quran, Allah wanted to solve all problems, but He didn't because it was too early. He didn't intend to solve all problems immediately. So He wanted to solve problems step by step, because there is no compulsion in religion. That's why He sent hundreds of thousands of prophets one by one, slowly. And that time was not possible to, abolish slavery, right away entirely. That's why Allah says that if you do this, you have to free a slave. If you do that, you have to free a slave. So Allah is against every oppression, and slavery is also another type of oppression. So Islam doesn't agree with slavery, and yes, as I said, it wasn't meant to solve all problems immediately, but slowly, because people wouldn't understand. They were not prepared for all problems be solved totally. Even today, people are not prepared for many messages of Islam. As I see, even Muslims are not prepared. Last night I was talking to a Muslim YouTuber, and I was telling them about mercy, forgiving, and they were, oh, what do you say? No, come on, we have to execute murderers and so on. And I was giving them verses of Quran, they were rejecting, and they were Muslims. I said, Prophet Muhammad says that the best, the pleasure you get from forgiveness, you will never get it in revenge. And you say that, no, we have to punish people. So you go against teachings of Prophet Muhammad yourself. So people were not prepared at that time. Even today, most people are not prepared. So slowly, yeah, we have to educate them. Yes.
Thank you. Question coming in from Pudu to Dawah. I am talking about the issue related to China, Myanmar, India, Europe, the US, Australia. Each country which I mentioned doesn't have good relations with Muslims. TJump, your input too. So I guess for both of you.
Yeah, so they don't have, I don't know from where he get this. China is one of the greatest supporters of the Iranian fascist regime. Russia, North Korea, Europe, USA, they support Iranian regime. They have been supporting in 3 years, okay, in many different ways. So I don't know from where he said. China has signed a 25 years agreement with Iranian fascist regime a few months ago, and they kept it secret from Iranian people. So I don't know from where he says that they don't have good relation. They have relation, but in a bad way, unfortunately. I don't know some other countries he mentioned. I didn't remember all countries, but China, Europe, USA. So they have a good relation with all these terrorists and dictators.
Thank you. Oh, and then TJump, if you wanted to respond.
Well, I think he was talking about bad relations in that Muslims cause wars and conflicts all over the world, and so the fact that like there's a big conflict between Islamic countries and Indian countries right now, and so they don't really get along. And I think he's asking the question, why is it that Muslim countries and other countries that aren't Muslim often get into conflicts and wars and don't get along? And he seems to be implying it's because of Islamic doctrines of war and conquest exemplified by Muhammad.
Question from Joe Schwartz. TJump, what is your favorite thing about Islam? Dawah, what is your favorite thing about atheism?
This, I don't know. I said it actually. I said that I prefer atheism over those barbarians like ISIS, Taliban, because at least they don't, commit all those terrible crimes. And but those, yes, of course, I don't accept atheism, and I said that I have said it many times before as well, that I prefer them over these barbarians, of course, in any religion, of course, even if we say that, Stalin, of course, he was an atheist as well. I wouldn't prefer Stalin over anything, I prefer those peaceful atheists over those violent, Muslims.
And so we only got 2 questions left because I combined the last one into a big one.
I think TJ should also answer.
Yeah. Oh, yes, that's right. What is your favorite thing about Islam?
72 virgins, I guess. I'll go with that.
Thank you for both of your answers. Wanting to get a minute. The last thing, YouTube Flake wants to know the perfect Dawah. Do you think Iran would have been way better had it been Zoroastrian, a country, and not Islamic?
I don't know, actually. I cannot predict anything. As, for example, many Christian countries in Latin America, they are not way better, despite they are Christian. Or Greece, they were pagans, now they are Christians. If they were better, way better, if they were still pagans or not, I don't think so. So they were, during that time, I said that it was such a dictatorship that people wanted to get rid of that dictatorship. That's why they didn't fight Muslims at that time. So it wasn't way better that time either. There were dictators and so on, yes. And with few teachings, you cannot, get rid of all problems. Yes.
And all right, the last question of the night. It's a big one for the perfect Dawah because it's got 3 sets of verses. Can you ask the perfect Dawah about 2-223? And then can you also ask him about sex slavery in verses 66-1 and 66-2?
I have to read because those verses, because I, as I said, I haven't memorized all those verses. Okay, so I would ask him to come to my channel, and then I will talk to him there, and I will have more time to read the verses and then answer him, because I have read the verses, but I don't memorize them. Okay, and I said that slavery and every kind of oppression in Islam is condemned, and Islam has tried always to release slaves by different ways. Okay, if you do this, if you kill someone, you have to release a slave, and so on, many different ways.
Thank you so very much. That was a great transition, in fact, because I want to thank you all for joining us on Modern Day Debate. We, of course, are a neutral platform welcoming everybody from all walks of life. If you're looking for more fantastic debates in the future, please don't forget to like and subscribe, including tonight's debate on Islam versus atheism, which is best for society. I do want to thank both of our interlocutors, TJump and the Perfect Dawah, for joining us today. And if you liked what either of our guests said, both of their links are in the description below. With that, I am Amy Newman with Modern Day Debate. We hope you continue having great conversations, discussions, and debates.
All right, thank you very much.
Yep.
Have a nice day, and thank you for this opportunity.
Yep.
Take it.
Nice to meet
Yeah,
you.
thank
TJ,
you guys.
See you later.
Thank you, the perfect Dawah. This was a
Thank you.
fantastic debate. Thank you,
Thank
TJump.
you.
Thank you,
Thank
guys.
you. Thank you. Bye. I have to go live now.
See you
All right.
guys
Good
later.
luck
Take
going
care.
live.
Thank you. Bye-bye.